according to YouTube analytics, only a small percentage of those watching my videos are actually subscribed. So if you like my content or like what I do here, please do check down below to see if you are subscribed. It is free and you can always unsubscribe later. Now, that being said, I am trying to get to 1K subscribers by this time next year, so if you want to help out my goal, definitely do subscribe and share with a friend. Although this video is going to be a bit different than my normal videos, I do have Dissociative Identity Disorder, but I am not a DID channel, so if you're watching this for DID channel / DID channel drama, that's not what my purpose of the channel is. I usually make Minecraft, Dream SMP, Fury videos, but as a system, I have a big problem with the representation at hand right now, and that's why I am sitting down and recording this video and talking about it, because, I can, I'm a system as well, and I still am affected by the way the community is represented. And even though I'm not a quote-unquote DID channel, I still have DID, and it's still a part of who I am as a person and about me as a whole. So, you can subscribe if you are a DID system. Just know that my channel is not like a DID education channel or a DID experience channel or anything like that. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about alternative systems / alternative vlogs. I already made a video about them before. I'll link that in the description and in an info card that you can go and watch that one. I definitely suggest watching that one first before you watch this one, just because I don't want to go into the full timeline again, or what I knew of then. Because a lot has happened since that video has came out, so I figured it would make much more sense for me to do it in this sort of fashion where, this is kind of a part 2 to the last video, essentially. But I will be still going over some things from that. And also, I just want to say, there is going to be a few trigger warnings in this video. There's a trigger warning for suicide, manipulation, a little bit talk of grooming, and a talk of doxing and death threats, so please keep that in mind as you're watching this video, that this video is pretty serious, and if it's triggering for you, feel free to step back and step away for a moment. That is totally understandable, and I totally get why you would need to do that if that was the case. So, ever since everything's been going down after they've been called out for exploiting their littles on their OnlyFans, they've been going after the whole DID community as a whole, and saying things like, just basically screaming at the support community tag, which they should not use. Support community tag is not for any kind of DID drama or anything, and she's just going into the tag and just full on yelling and screaming and things like that, and just typing in all caps and being like, you guys are a bunch of perverts, you guys are bullying me, you guys are stuck up bitches and stuff like that, and basically blaming the whole community for their self-harm and everything. And they've also been blaming their friend. Okay, so basically, their friend is DIDHatchery, and this video is not about DIDHatchery, but I will be talking about that situation. So, Alternative said basically along the lines of, DIDHatchery killed themselves, or at least had a suicide attempt. It was kind of vague how they worded it. They're basically saying DIDHatchery attempted suicide, and DIDHatchery was silent, so it seemed like there was rumors that maybe they were dead from the suicide attempt, and Alternative was basically going into this tag being like, it's your fault that they killed themselves or they attempted suicide, which you should never go and blame someone else for a suicide attempt, because that's just manipulative and everything, to just go and, it's a tactic commonly used, to deflect from criticism, being like, oh I self-harmed, or I'm gonna kill myself. It's a very manipulative tactic to use, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, because obviously there are reasons why people do it, and it can involve people and things like that, but you still should not go and just use that to deflect from criticism, which is what Alternative has been doing, and has been using their friend DIDHatchery from it. And DIDHatchery, in fact, did not even attempt suicide. They were not hospitalized for suicide, and alternative system was, gaslighting and manipulating everyone with this suicide attempt and being like, this is what bullying does, and bullying is the criticism that they've faced. The criticism they faced for exploiting their littles on their OnlyFans, the criticism they faced for slandering people, and the criticism they faced for saying doxing and death threats was an okay thing to do. That is what people were bullying them about. And, blaming the community for what Kiwi Farms does. If you don't know, Kiwi Farms is kind of like this forum where people anonymously go and they kind of talk shit. And on this forum, they basically released Alternative's court documents and everything. And they basically released that saying that to show that Alternative was not diagnosed, or at least it was self-reported, which I don't really care about that too much. And it's terrible to be doxxed on Kiwi Farms, but people on Kiwi Farms is not the DID community. Those are two separate communities. I'm not saying that there's no one on Kiwi Farms that is a system. Probably some of them involved are systems, but it's not anyone involved in the story. Kiwi Farms just wants to sit back and laugh at the bullshit and laugh at the drama. That's what they do. They're not here to... They don't really take part in it. They just kind of sit on the outside and kind of talk shit, that's what Kiwi Farms does. And the thing they do, they dox people and everything, and they release private information and stuff like that. And that's not the fault of the people actually involved, because the people actually involved did not condone any kind of doxing or death threats, and it's not their fault for calling you out on criticism. It's not their fault that because they criticized you and called you out on your shit, that is not their fault that you got doxxed by Kiwi Farms. It is shitty that you got doxxed by Kiwi Farms, but it's not the fault of the entire DID community for calling you out on your shit and your lies. That is not the fault. You can't just go and say, oh, someone murdered me after, or someone tried to kill me after you criticized me on the internet. That means it's your fault. That's just fucking stupid. It's so fucking manipulative. And alternative system does this thing where they try to control the narrative. And when they control the narrative, they basically deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender, aka DARVO people. And that's what they've been doing to the entire DID community. They've been calling them perverts and shit like that when, they're exploiting their littles, and everything. And they've been claiming that, they're being persecuted by the entire DID community, and just, acting like a victim all the time. They're constantly acting like a victim. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. When really, they've been claiming that they've been harassed and stalked by the DID community and members of the DID community, when really that's not the case. The case is, Alternative's been slandering these people and claiming things about them, and it's just not true, so they have to go and respond to it, and it's just kind of this whole thing of Alternatives really the one keeping up a lot of the drama that's been happening, and that's just a case of how it is. That's just the tea, okay? They've claimed that all these accounts criticizing them were from the same person, when really it's not. It's different people that are just calling you out on your shit, and they've been calling the people Mara, and Mara's been slandered, Mara's been doxxed by Alternative, and been sent death threats by Alternative, and Alternative System, in my last video I covered this, where they went on recording, and they said that they sent death threats to these people that try to prove a point and try to prove that they were Mara. Which is fucking stupid, because even if it was Mara, let's just say maybe one of the accounts was Mara, which it really wasn't, none of them were. That's still fucking fucked, You're attacking a traumatized community and sending them death threats for criticizing you, and then you're going back and say, oh, well, they got mad, so that proves a point. They all got mad about it, which, there's this thing called the internet where if one person just tweets that, they got death threats, everyone's gonna be tweeting about it just because they see it on their phone. That's just how it is. But now we get into something even more serious and something that makes me really mad. Besides the, guilt-tripping with a fake suicide attempt that never even happened and claiming that their friend was dead, basically. Besides guilting everyone with that, Alternative has been going after a minor. This minor is around 14 to 15 years old. I'm not going to be naming their system or anything, but just know that Alternative System has basically been posting tweets basically attacking this minor and claiming that, the group of people that are criticizing Alternative was grooming this child, which is not the case because none of the group were in contact with the child at all. They were not talking to them. But basically, Alternative's been posting photos of this child's face. They've been bragging about how they have their IP address, saying that, they're going to contact their parents and the police. And let me just say, that is fucked. It is really fucked to have a grown woman sitting there being like, oh yeah, I have your IP address. I'm going to contact your parents and everything. And for me, I had that done to me. I had that done to me when I was 14 years old. There was this fucking old guy. Like, really old guy, who was, like, in his 50s, and he was there, and he was making videos about me to his audience and trash-talking me, and that was super traumatizing in many different ways, and I see that behavior as predatory. Not predatory in a sexual way, but it's still predatory behavior, to go and sit there and threaten a child, being like, I know where you live, I have your IP, I'm gonna contact your parents, like, that was a thing, and I'm still even, like, it's been fucking, how many years? It's been 4 years, I think it's been 4 years, wait, how many years has it been? I don't know, I'm losing track of time, it's okay, but it's been a long-ass time, and I'm still scared to even talk about this guy, because he's gonna make a video about me, and, like, shit-talk me, and everything, and, it's just been this, like, whole journey of, like, ever since that, like, I was 14 years old, I was having videos made about me, and, like, people threatening to saying that they had my IP and knew where I lived, and everything like that, and it was just super fucking scary, and I see that as abusive and manipulative, because, obviously, he did not actually have my IP, he was just claiming he did, and he was claiming to know where he lived, but he didn't, and he was claiming he was gonna contact my parents, but never did, but to a minor child, especially one that young, 14, 15 years old, to them, that is really scary. That is incredibly scary. And, it's trying to silence them. It's trying to silence them and make them an afraid person. And that is predatory to me. To sit there and go on your YouTube page and make a video about a child or live stream shit talking about a child. I had that done for me. I'm still having that done to me, honestly. That's still something that's been happening to me, but not on this page, because I don't really... This page is not connected to that part of me. This page is kind of... This channel, actually, is kind of like a little bit of a secret, if you will. So, it's a little bit of a secret, so I'm not gonna give details in my situation or anything, but it is a little bit of a secret, but, I still have this thing where, I don't really want this channel to be discovered by those people, because then they'll start going after me over it and shit like that, and this is just kind of like my little safe page, if that makes any sense. And, to have a child, to threaten a child like that's, like, seriously fucked, and that's super predatory, because you're trying to silence them and give them fear and make them not want to speak out about you and your bullshit. And that's what Alternative has been doing to this minor child, and saying horrible things about them on a much bigger platform than what they have. And that was done to me. Even though the things that man was saying was completely false, he still had a bigger platform than me. And it was incredibly traumatizing and horrible, and, I felt this need to constantly be going into hiding, and it was really fucking shitty. And Alternative is doing that on an even more bigger platform than what I experienced at that age, that this minor is at. And it's just really fucking fucked. It's really fucking fucked to try to break a child like that, and break a minor child. Especially in the DID community, where people are already traumatized, and threatening people with their parents and everything. Definitely not gonna assume this minor is trauma or anything like that. But even still, it's really fucking sketchy. It's really fucking sketchy to, like, threaten someone with their parents. Like, you don't know what people's parents are like, or what they're gonna do, or anything, so it's just really fucking sus, Alternative. And to attack this child who they quote-unquote thinks groomed by this group of people, which this group of people has not contacted this child at all or anything. It's just a slandering to them as well, to say, oh yeah, this child has been groomed by these people, and it's just like, that's just not the case. Just not the case. Another thing, this is a bit different, moving on from the minor child thing, but this is another criticism I have of alternative, and it's the fact that, not the fact that they smoke weed, it's the fact that they smoked weed, and they got in their car and drove to the grocery store. That's the problem I have. I have no problem with weed or marijuana or anything like that, but they basically smoked on live stream, right? That's fine. You can smoke weed live. I don't care about that. But they then went and got in their car and drove to the grocery store, as they were high. And to me, that's super bad. It's super dangerous for yourself and for others. And I'm okay with weed and everything, but it's just so fucking weird. It's just so fucking weird to, go live. You're driving while you're live, which is another danger to, be distracted by your fucking live stream in your YouTube chat. I was about to say Twitch chat, but they don't stream on Twitch. But that's super fucking weird and dangerous. To be fucking high while driving. That's a crime. Speaking of crimes, they're also a fraud. They're a fraud. Guess what? They were living with somebody, right? And when that person moved out, right, but they posted a GoFundMe link or the likes of that where they were raising money for this person that they lived with, and the person did not see the money at all, and they were not living with them at all, and it was just, they were trying to scam money out of people. And another sketchy thing is that alternative system likes to poor shame people. They tried to poor shame cryptic system, or cryptid, I don't know exactly what cryptid system. They tried to poor shame cryptid system, and it was really fucking shitty. Like, and then, they were claiming, which like I said, they said they were on food stamps, right? But they also claimed that they had, they made a lot of money more than, what the limit for food stamps are. So there's just, like, a lot of, like, really, like, fraud, sketchy, scammy type situation going on there with them. That's what's been going on. And I also have a problem with how they weaponize their dissociative identity disorder. They use their dissociative identity disorder to be like, you're attacking someone with trauma, you're attacking someone with dissociative identity disorder, you can't criticize me because I have dissociative identity disorder. That's essentially what I get from them. That's the vibes I get from them, that, they've been weaponizing their DID when it's convenient for them. Every single time there's any kind of criticism, their little harms themselves, or they have to go into the hospital and they weaponize their DID, and they act like that they're the only real DID system, and their fans act like that they're the only real DID system. In fact, I had someone comment, just saying, they apologized after, so no harmful feelings out there, but I had someone commenting just assuming my trauma, and being like, alternative has worse trauma than you, whatever. And it's just like, I had never even said my trauma on this page, so I don't even know where you're coming from with that. And even still, it's fucking weird of a thing for their stans to do, or whatever. I find that weird, at least, personally. And, they act like that they are the only system's feelings that matter. Or I don't know if it makes any sense to you guys. It might make a little bit of sense. And it's okay for them to harass other DID systems, but no one can criticize them. And I'm not saying it's okay to harass alternative, right? But they've been full on harassing people. And when you try to call them out, you just can't do that. It's just like, where is the logic connecting here? Like, you can't criticize alternative, but they can go and harass people and send them doxing threats and death threats and justify that. And get support for that. Like, I don't know. That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. I find that so fucking weird. To me, that is strange. That is such an odd thing that's going on. And to, go and assume people's trauma and just weaponize alternative DID for everything, it's just weird. It's just super weird. Especially considering that they weaponized their self-harm, they weaponized their friend's suicide attempt that never even happened. They claimed that their friend was dead for a while, and it was the criticism from people. And it's just, to me, that's really fucked. I don't know. It seems that they're always using their mental health issues as a weapon and a shield from criticism. That's something that Dissociadid would do. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is what Dissociadid do, and that's what alternative claims to hate. And I'm just really tired. I'm tired of this bullshit and alternative system. You need to stop. You need to stop now. This is bullshit. And it needs to end.